When people hear medieval inquisitor, the first thing that often flashes to mind is someone like Torquemada or the villain from Umberto Eco's Name of the Rose, the infamous Bernard Gui, surrounded by black-cowled monks with torches, pale-faced, with severe sunken eyes searching feverishly for errors to slip up and for heretics to burn. Now, the historical Bernard Gui, whose dates are 1261 to 1331, was a Dominican friar and inquisitor, chiefly active in Languedoc, in what is now southern France. Between 1308 and 1323, he presided over close to 1,000 heresy cases in Toulouse, concentrating on practitioners of a widespread voluntary poverty movement that had long fractured along the lines of heretical and orthodox belief. I'm speaking here predominantly of Waldensians and lingering networks of Cathars. Gui is mainly known for his handbook, the Practica inquisitionis heretice pravitatis, or Manual of the Inquisition of Heretical Depravity, completed around 1323. It's a working manual. It's got procedural formulas for arrest and examination, sample interrogations, model sentences, and lists of errors to look for. What's worthy of note for our purposes is that for such a large compilation about all the things inquisitors are supposed to concern themselves with, the treatment of magic is quite brief. We get 2 passages, one of which is a chapter on sorcerers, diviners, and invokers of demons. And this occupies less than 2 printed pages of text in Douai's 1886 Latin edition. What follows is a translation of this brief chapter, which serves as a snapshot of early 14th century inquisitorial procedure against magicians. It's written in terse administrative Latin, composed to regularize examinations when suspicions of superstition edged into sacrilege or commerce with demons. What it gives us is the institution's voice. It's the way a Dominican jurist thought such matters should be put on the record when they arose at the margins of a case. With that frame in mind, here is the chapter. On sorcerers, diviners, and invokers of demons. The plague of sorceries and divinations and invocations of demons, and a varied and multiple error, is found in diverse lands and regions according to various contrivances and false information arising from the vanity of superstitious people tending toward the spirits of error and the doctrines of demons. Questions for sorcerers and diviners and invokers of demons. A sorcerer or diviner or invoker of demons, when examined, is to be asked what and how many kinds of sorceries or divinations or invocations he himself knows, and from whom he learned them. Likewise, going down to particulars, after considering the quality and condition of the persons, for the same questions are not to be put to everyone in the same way, since men are questioned one way and women another. Questions can be framed on the following matters: what they know or have known or have done concerning boys or infants to be enchanted or disenchanted, about lost or damned souls, about thieves to be imprisoned, about the concord or discord of married persons, about the impregnation of the barren, about those who give hair and nails and certain other things to be eaten, about the state of the souls of the dead, about the foretelling of future events, about the enchantresses whom they call good things, bonae res, who, as they say, travel by night, about making incantations or conjuring through incantations, with fruits and herbs, with girdles and other things, whom he taught to charm or conjure with chants, and from whom he learned or heard such charms or conjurations, about the curing of illnesses with conjurations or verbal charms, about the gathering of herbs with bent knees, facing eastwards while praying the Lord's Prayer, about the joining of pilgrimages and masses, and the offering of candles and the giving of alms, about uncovering thefts that have been committed, or making hidden things manifest. Likewise, Let inquiry be made especially about those things that smack of any sort of superstition, irreverence, or injury with respect to the sacraments of the Church, and especially with respect to the sacrament of the body of Christ, and also with respect to divine worship and sacred places. Let inquiry be made about the Eucharist being held onto, for magical purposes, or the chrism or holy oil being stolen from the Church. Let inquiry be made about wax or other images that have been baptized, and about the manner of baptizing, and to what uses or effects. Let inquiry be made about the making of leaden images, and the way of making them, and for what effects. Likewise, from whom he learned or heard such things, and how much time it's been since he began to use such things. Let inquiry be made about who and how many have come to him to seek consultations, especially within the last year, whether he has ever previously been forbidden such things, and by whom, and whether he abjured such things and promised never to do them or make use of them, whether he relapsed after an abjuration or a promise, likewise, whether he actually believed the claims he taught to others, and what goods or gifts or presents he had received for such practices. What this short chapter shows us is exactly what early 14th century inquisitors were concerned with when it came to magical practitioners. Superstitious rites, on their own, fall under correction, that is, forced abjuration and penance for those confessing, prison or supervised custody for the non-cooperative, and long detention for the obstinate. Sacrilege and demon pacts, however, fall under heresy, and rooting out heresy, particularly relapsed heresy, was the chief object of interest for any given Dominican Inquisitor. His procedure was systematic. Establish what was done, what was believed, by whom it was learned, how long it had been practiced, and whether prior prohibitions or abjurations occurred. Ultimately, Gui's emphasis rests on policing the proper use of the sacraments and worship. Now, an important piece of context in reading all this can be gleaned from an article by Michael Bailey entitled From Sorcery to Witchcraft, Clerical Conceptions of Magic in the Later Middle Ages, wherein he posits how, in Guy's surviving Book of Sentences, there are no cases of sorcery at all from 1308 to 1323. This helps us position the text within Guy's actual inquisitorial practice. Nevertheless, although Gui tried no sorcerers personally, writes Bailey, he clearly knew of the crime and felt that the readers of the manual might well encounter it. End quote. What is of chief interest to Bailey was the fact that, quote, upon close examination, these questions reveal that the type of sorcery Gui thought inquisitors would typically be encountering was in fact common sorcery and not elite necromancy. End quote. For a description of that, we need to turn to a different section of the manual. Through the confession of N, insert name here, it is established that the said N made and fashioned 2 images from wax, with lead obtained from a fisherman's net, the head of these being formed, with flies gathered and collected, with spiders, with frogs and toads, with snakeskin, and with many other things placed beneath the image, and with conjurations and invocations of demons added, blood also having been drawn from some part of his own body, and mixed with the blood of a toad, and offered or given to the demons invoked in the place of a sacrifice, in their honor and reverence, together with such and such conjurations, observations, and superstitious, pestilential, and damned rites, in order to perform such and such acts of harmful sorcery. What's worthy of note in all this, whether in discussing common magic or elite necromancy, there's no Black Sabbath, no flying ointment, no sect of devil-goat worshipping witches. By the early 14th century, those motifs had not yet become firmly connected and ingrained in the demonological imagination, and it would become more prominent later in the 15th century when writers began to fuse scattered superstitions and prohibitions against magic with a feverish belief in widespread diabolism and satanic conspiracy. It's in later manuals like Emeric's Directorium Inquisitorum, Nieder's Formicarius, and Kramer's Malleus Maleficarum that magic users are targeted far more explicitly and systematically. But these authors would also be working from a new synthesis that treated magic as part and parcel of a diabolical sect and a millenarian conspiracy, rather than some kind of demonic delusion like you find in Augustine or in the Canon Episcopi. But all this we'll have to explore at a later date. I hope to do a number of shorter pieces featuring these themes, blending together my usual interest in the history of magic, heresy, demonology, Latin literature, and Dominican polemics. As always, if you'd like to support more work such as this, please visit patreon.com/themodernhermeticist. And above all, thanks for listening.